Hey everybody, multidimensional theorist here. This is an extended video of the current energies that are happening right now. So number one, like I was saying in my short reel, if you come over from my Instagram, the visitations of our galactic, of our soul families, of beings that are here to work with us, to elevate us, to educate us, to integrate into, for us to embody, unlock our DNA, they're very much making themselves present right now. And this can look in like so many different ways, seeing bright colors, seeing bright lights as you go to sleep, seeing signs of UFOs. If there's a certain family of origin that you connect with, Palladians, Andromedans, Lyran seeds, there's just so many, and there's a lot newer ones that are actually coming online. If you tap into an energy and you're not sure, names are for us as humans to kind of make sense of. They don't necessarily have to have names. I know I've come across some that have symbols versus names, just energetic frequency. So names not always that important. And if a name comes to you that's new, go with it, work with it, allow it to allow yourself to be inspired, and how, a lot of times if you tap into the energy and it feels good to you, it resonates. There's a resonance there. And ask, co-create, right? This is a time of co-creation, big time. Ask, how can we work together? Or even just sit in the energy. This is something that I have been doing for the past couple of days, is just sitting with, the spaceship comes, I see it, they come in, and it's just like such a warm hug of cocoon of loving energy that these beautiful beings have for us, are nourishing us, and are just really assisting us at this time in our evolution and our healing and whatever is needed in our own individual timelines. And so number 2 is this idea of the rainbow heart. And I really love this because it's about self-love, and it's about receiving, but also giving in a sense of, hold on one second, my dog. Right, this idea of heart-centered, the rainbow heart-centered. Bringing your heart space, your soul, your huge source self, coming into that here, but extending that up and extending that down. So it's almost like going in, tapping into the soul, and through that, like the central channel, allowing it to expand from the heart space and touch and illuminate and balance and ignite and feed all your different chakras. And then allowing, the energy kind of flows within your aura, and it can flow in different ways. And if you allow it to guide you, right? Our energy has this beautiful way of expression when we allow it to guide us versus trying to control it. That's why ecstatic dancing is such a beautiful practice, because it's like your soul's moving through you versus, being more grounded in whether ballet or modern or whatever. But it's like the energy of your soul is moving your body. And in this practice of visualization, if you give yourself permission, that's my dog chewing on something, but if you give yourself permission to allow this energy to flow in the way that it needs to be expressed, it's almost you're giving yourself permission to flow in whatever unique expression is for you that day in that moment. And they're saying there's this strong call to let go of what you think, how you think things should be, and surrender to the heart of being. And this, and as someone who has done a lot of intellectual deep diving and a sense of a way to have knowledge and control over certain things, surrendering to this energy and allowing it to take form in its own way, in a way of co-creation, where it's like having your human experience and witnessing certain things, right? So when you bring love and light to certain aspects, certain blockages, maybe certain things that you've put on pause or haven't wanted to look at for a while, when you bring love and light to that, the truth can be very jarring and frustrating. But the beautiful thing is, it's we're not alone. When you feel like you have to do it alone, that's where you can get stuck in the suffering of it. And not saying that that's bad, but to witness that, right? And this is actually a huge lesson that I am really working through, is like I'm being aware of the different aspects of me that come up when certain trauma is realized, or certain problems are or obstacles are in my current environment, or if there's a space where I don't know something, and how prayer and taking time to sit in your heart space quietly with that question, and not necessarily with an expectation of hearing what the answer is, but being open to it be delivered in your everyday life. For example, I have been dealing with some health stuff, and I have not had a clear answer on what the cause is. And I'm out walking, I've prayed on it, went into my heart space. And as I'm walking, I hear someone talk about getting blood drawn or whatever, and I was like, "Oh, excuse me, what are y'all talking about?" And what he was talking about was like, bam, okay, that's what I need. I needed to hear that medicine. That's the piece I needed to hear. And if I wasn't open to like, hey, wait, there's something going on here, let me ask. This is where co-creation happens, and it's so beautiful, right? And it can happen when prayer is asking, meditation is receiving. And though it may not be instant, sometimes it could be for someone, they could hear an answer. Other times it's more of a call and response. And when you go out and live your life, it comes to you. And it's it's such a beautiful gift to remind someone that like we're not alone. We're all connected. We all have this piece in how our source self speaks through everybody, because we each have this beautiful heart center, this beautiful sense of light, right? And if there are times when you may feel cut off from it, and from hurt, from pain, but there's a surrender at some point that happens when it's like, okay, with a choice of like, okay, this is where I am. I can either stay isolated by myself, or I can start interacting with the world. I can start playing. I can start co-creating. This is what my human experience is, whether it's like, oh, I need a new job, or being very grounded in where you are and acceptance of that. And it is through that you can co-create solution or be open to something that is different. When you have awareness, okay, this is where I am, but I would like to experience something different. That's hope, right? That's hope that creates a co-creation. That's an inspiration for something to be birthed, to be. It's a signal, being like, okay, all right, I'm ready for what's next, universe. I'm ready. And it's and bringing love to that experience wherever you are, because we can make it mean something about us, like, oh, I'm at this point again in my life and I don't know how to get out of it. I feel shamed because I'm here. Having, when we shame ourselves or guilt or whatever it is, it kind of keeps us in that vibration. It keeps us in the problem. It keeps us in that feeding that there's something wrong with us. And regardless of where you are, like who you are doesn't change. Who you are is ever evolving and source in this play of human soul, call and receive. They feed each other. The breaking down of the conditioning that feeds the soul experience and wisdom, that feeds us through lifetimes, and it's through the human experience, we're experiencing all these things that call for solution, that call for something else. And so it's this dialogue of the feminine and the masculine, of the human and the soul, and that each of the pieces is a beautiful co-creative energy, and that this co-creativeness is within all of us. And when we are open to this dialogue and this dance, even when you may be feeling shitty and you're just walking down the street and just someone smiles at you, and you're like, oh, yeah, okay, I remember. I just needed that medicine right there, right? And also remembering that you can call for a solution, but you can also ask the universe to show you how beautiful and lovable you really are. So there's multiple ways you can play with this. Multiple ways, asking for opportunities to shine more of yourself. And the key is to not always, recovering perfectionist here, doing this toxic masculine, right? But really coming more into my feminine energy, and the resting and the receiving and sitting and witnessing, even if it's just for a moment, just taking a moment and breathing and witnessing the nature. The more you sit with that, resting when your body needs to rest. Allowing yourself to not be on coffee all the time, and to have a sense of go, but from a place of inspiration. And also operating when you, noticing when you're operating, you're not. Like today, I know I was I just kind of, I got, something within me was like, oh, I have to go to this event. I have to go. And I started rushing. Shoving food in my face, making sure I got and then I got on the train, and then I was like, okay, I'm going to rest. And then realized after, when I came home, there's something that needed to be released within my nervous system. And though the event, what I went through, what I experienced, it was great in itself. But this idea of this rush to go do something was actually more of a little bit of a distraction of, instead of sitting and being with something that was coming up. And I came And I let myself lie on an open lawn, look up at the sky, and just cry. And then I took a nap, and I woke up. And it's this beauty of that, the ebb and flow. And just bringing love to the whole experience. Because there's, whether I was rushing or not, who I am doesn't change at my core. Even if I believe something different, this doesn't change. It's just my ability to accept that and bring that into my present moment is what, when people talk about altering your perspective, altering the lens you look through, a situation can be the same, but when you alter the lens, when you kind of view and see, even witness what lens you're looking through, and bringing this idea of exception and love to that, regardless of what it is, regardless of how gross you think that part of you is. It's just a conditioned, maybe trauma response, right? That's not who you are. It's a part of you that was created to feel safe at one point, to fit in, to survive. But who you are is the being of innocence and pure expression of your unique beauty. And even when you're not that, or you're not allowing that to be an expression, that doesn't mean you're any less loved, or you're any less deserving of that part of you. So yes, this rainbow heart, tapping into that soul, bringing this heart to all the rainbows within inside your chakra system. Nourishing, cleansing, allowing that energy to floss through each portal of your chakra. Yeah. So if you celebrate Passover today, happy Passover. If y'all are celebrating Easter Sunday, happy Easter. And if none of those apply to you, or if they do apply to you, happy whatever. Much love. Sending y'all a big hug today.